channel, which can translate the presentation into over 100 languages. Rules for the evening. If you wish to ask a question, make a statement, or provide feedback, please fill out a speaker slip and turn it in prior to the end of the video. No speaker slips will be accepted after the video ends. Each speaker will have 1 minute to ask a question, provide feedback, or make a statement. Be respectful of all viewpoints. Time may not be ceded to other speakers. We want to hear from as many people as possible. If a community member does not wish to ask a question, provide feedback, or comment publicly, a QR code and web address are provided to facilitate this input. We will start taking questions here at the hub location. We have subject matter experts on site. They will answer questions. If they cannot answer the question in the moment, the question will be answered on the city's technology website later. When the questions, statements, and feedback are completed at the hub location or 45 minutes has elapsed, we will move on to the satellite locations, proceeding in order of council districts. If time remains, we will return to the hub location for any outstanding questions. Please be respectful of all viewpoints, whether they are for the technology or against the technology. All viewpoints will be heard. Unruly behavior may result in being removed from the meeting. Feedback from these meetings will be included in the impact reports for each technology. Thank you for taking time to be a part of this process.
My name is Detective Michael Gottfried, and I work in the Traffic Investigations Unit. Traffic Investigations is tasked with investigating all fatal traffic collisions and felony DUI and hit-and-run collisions that occur in the city of San Diego. Modern vehicles have complex networks that operate critical safety functions such as brakes, airbags, control, navigation, and infotainment systems. This complexity has increased exponentially within the past decade. A typical modern vehicle has more than 100 computer systems and multiple networks that connect the computers and generate about 25 gigabytes of data per hour. These systems are constantly collecting performance metrics, monitoring sensor data, scanning external environmental conditions, processing telemetry data, and communicating. Data that is stored by vehicle systems can be collected and processed. The information contained within the vehicle can be critical evidence during a criminal investigation. This includes information related to vehicle events, location data, and connected devices. Traffic Investigation possesses the Burla IVE Toolkit, which consists of a hardware kit that contains interface boards and cables for the acquisition of data from a supported vehicle, and forensic software to parse the data to be analyzed. The Burla kit is kept and maintained at Traffic Division. The kit is used after a crime has been committed during the investigation of that crime, and the analyzed data is provided to the detective as a part of the follow-up investigation. In order for this data to be obtained, the investigator must have a search warrant or written consent from the vehicle owner. The kit is used by a certified operator upon a request of a detective in traffic investigations or from another unit within the department. The hardware is connected to the vehicle's infotainment and telematics system and creates a copy of the data stored within that system. The acquired data is parsed through the software in order to display the data in an easily viewable manner. Typical data obtained from supported vehicles consists of user data such as connected devices, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connections, call logs and contact lists, navigational data such as recent destinations, saved locations, track logs and track points, and vehicle event data such as door openings and closings, gear shifts, ignition starts, odometer readings, and speed logs. An analysis of this data can assist investigators in determining what happened, where it occurred, and who was involved. Besides being used to investigate fatal and/or felony traffic collisions, the kit has been used to investigate murders, attempted murders, robberies, and series-related burglaries.
The San Diego Police Department has an abandoned vehicle abatement unit, also known as the AVA unit. The AVA unit responds to complaints throughout the city regarding inoperable vehicles stored on private property. These vehicles are often in violation of the City of San Diego Municipal Code. Civil codes within the municipal code regulate how inoperable vehicles can be stored. Police Code Compliance Officers, or PCCOs, are non-sworn police department members tasked with responding to and resolving these complaints. Oftentimes, PCCOs respond to a location and find a vehicle in violation of the city's civil code. PCCOs make every effort to contact the owner of the private property. Sometimes PCCOs are unable to reach the owner because the property is uninhabited and the neighbors do not know how to reach the property owner. PCCOs leave the notices on the property in these instances. Unfortunately, some property owners have not responded to the PCCO's attempts to contact them. If a PCCO is unable to reach a property owner by other means, the PCCO will use RealQuest online services to identify the property owner and find a mailing address. RealQuest provides authorized users access to multiple listing service information, property tax information, and property ownership information, and may only be used by members of the public who purchase a subscription for the service. All of the information contained in RealQuest is open source information available to anyone who pays for the subscription. RealQuest Online Services provides a quick and easy means for PCCOs to access public records to determine the ownership of real property through a secure online application. RealQuest saves time by quickly providing this information so PCCOs do not have to track it down through other city or county departments. Once PCCOs obtain needed information from RealQuest, they send a certified letter to the property owner in an attempt to gain their voluntary compliance in adhering to the city's civil code. Generally, once PCCOs are able to establish communication with a property owner, the property owner takes the steps necessary to remove the inoperable vehicle or store it in a legal fashion. In rare instances, PCCOs have used their communication with an uncooperative property owner to obtain a court order to have the inoperable vehicle removed. In those instances, a civil fine can be imposed against the property owner.
I'm Detective Roger McCarville of the San Diego Police Department. I'm currently assigned to the San Diego Police Department's Sex Offender Registration Unit and the Sexual Assault Felony Enforcement Task Force, also known as the SAFE Task Force. People convicted of certain sex and arson crimes are required by state and federal law to register where they live and with the law enforcement agencies having jurisdiction over their registered addresses. The California Sex and Arson Registry, also known as CSAR, and Offender Watch are two databases utilized by law enforcement agencies to register sex and arson registrants. CSAR is specifically utilized by law enforcement agencies within the state of California and is maintained by the California Department of Justice. Law enforcement agencies within the state make entries into CSAR to record registrants moving into and out of and within jurisdictions and to capture time spent in custody. Offender Watch is a database created by Watch Systems. Hundreds of law enforcement agencies within the United States utilize Offender Watch to maintain their registration information. CSAR and Offender Watch are mainly used by the San Diego Police Department and specifically the San Diego Police Department Registration Unit located at the San Diego Police Department headquarters. The sergeant, detectives, and officers in the registration unit can make entries into both databases. Other law enforcement personnel may access the information in a read-only format. The information in CSAR and Offender Watch contain names, physical descriptions, residential and work addresses, telephone numbers, and vehicle descriptions of the registrants. The information is utilized by law enforcement agencies to enforce registration requirements. Some of the information is made available to the public through Megan's Law website and the National Sex Offender Public website.
I'm Lieutenant Charles Lara, presenting on behalf of Lisa Mercheski, Supervising Criminalist at the San Diego Police Department Crime Lab. I will discuss 3 pieces of technology used in the Crime Lab. The first technology is Cellebrite's Universal Forensics Extraction Device Platform. Universal Forensics Extraction Device platforms extract data from mobile devices such as cell phones. The software is used at the San Diego Police Department headquarters. Cellebrite software is used only when there is proper legal authority to search a phone signed by a judge or if the owner of the phone gives consent. Cellebrite software is used to extract data from mobile devices for investigative purposes. Officers and detectives who have completed training and have been authorized can use the software. The criminalists in the Forensic Technology Unit of the lab use this software as part of their duties. Cellebrite software can only be used with proper legal authority and training. The second technology is Grayshift's Gray Key. Gray Key is a hardware and software used to extract data from mobile devices such as cell phones. It is used in the Forensic Technology Unit of the lab located at headquarters. It can only be used when there is proper legal authority to search the phone signed by a judge or if the owner of the phone gives consent. The tool is used to extract data from the mobile devices for investigative purposes. The criminalists in the Forensic Technology Unit of the lab are the only persons authorized to use this tool as part of their duties. The tool can only be used with proper legal authority and training. The third technology is Magnet Forensics Axiom. Axiom is a software that can recover, process, and analyze digital evidence that has been extracted from mobile devices such as a cell phone. It is used in the Forensic Technology Unit of the lab located at headquarters. It is used in the Forensic Technology Unit to prepare data reports for investigators when a phone has been legally extracted. The software is used to give readable reports to investigators for their investigations. The criminalists in the Forensic Technology Unit of the lab are the only persons authorized to use this licensed software as part of their duties. Extracting cell phone data and interpreting this data is crucial to criminal investigations and is done only pursuant to obtaining legal authority.
Hello, I'm Kimberly Kirkpatrick, Senior Crime Analyst with the San Diego Police Department. Cellhawk is a tool used by members of the San Diego Police Department to aid in the investigation of a crime. It is software designed to visually display cell phone records on a map. The billing records of a specific cell phone number are legally obtained from a cell phone provider upon the judicial approval of a search warrant. All San Diego Police Department users granted access to Cellhawk have passed a background investigation. They access the software using computers located in our secure law enforcement facilities, generally after obtaining a search warrant. The software and uploaded records are not accessible to the public. Cellhawk is used by the San Diego Police Department in two ways. First, the software is used by investigators and crime analysts to map the cell phone records of the specified cell phone. These map records can be used to determine the general location of a cell phone during a defined period of time, as outlined in the search warrant. The investigator is legally bound to inform the subscriber of the cell phone that their records have been obtained as a result of a search warrant. Secondly, in a life or death situation, like a kidnapping for example, investigators may choose to use Cellhawk to display the precise location of a specific cell phone based upon updates sent from that cell phone's provider. After the situation is resolved, the investigator must submit an after-action search warrant for judicial approval.
Hello, my name is Karen Goodman, and I'm a supervising crime analyst for the San Diego Police Department. Not to be confused with the crime lab, our crime analysis unit uses computers to solve crime and potentially keep crime from reoccurring. The San Diego Police Department uses CP Clear, an internet-based online service provided by Thomson Reuters. CP Clear offers real-time resources to locate information about individuals, utilities, and assets. It's a valuable tool for exigent circumstances when finding someone quickly may be the difference between life and death. When is it most helpful? Investigating homicides, sexual assaults and robberies, fugitive apprehension, locating missing persons, and kidnapping or child abduction cases. Access to CP Clear is on a need-to-know, right-to-know basis, meaning there's an active crime case or law enforcement event that initiates the data inquiry. All users have passed backgrounds for employment with the San Diego Police Department. Data available includes information gathered from Experian and Equifax, consumer credit reporting agencies, but it is not a means for running credit history or credit reports. Addresses of residence, business licenses, bankruptcy filings, vehicle registrations, phone numbers, and property ownership are included in the results. The data itself is only a pointer system, and all information must be confirmed through the originating source. Access is provided and managed at a user level with computers located in secure law enforcement facilities or on cell phones with encryption and multi-factor authentication. CP Clear is an essential investigating tool for using real-time data to locate persons of interest or at-risk individuals, as well as to solve violent crimes.
Hello, I'm Lieutenant Charles Lara with the San Diego Police Department. Nighthawk LEO Vision is a cloud-based data analysis software product. Investigators can upload data sets received, typically via search warrant, from social media returns and cell phone data into the secured government cloud for analysis. With the expansion of social media applications and communication platforms, the amount of data to review has become unmanageable without such analysis software. The software allows investigators to quickly query and review the information for potential evidence and exculpatory information. The department currently has 20 user licenses for software, and they are primarily assigned to the Homicide Unit and Crime Analysis Unit. All users have received training on the software and have signed a user's agreement acknowledging the restrictions the department has placed on its use. Information uploaded to the system is routinely audited by the department administrator, and suspicious activity would be flagged by the vendor. Nighthawk LEO Vision is a data analysis software tool. The product does not gather or harvest information from any source. It is simply an analysis tool to review uploaded datasets returned in response to a court order, search warrant, or other lawful means of the obtaining of the information, for example, consent. The technology is utilized after lawful means has secured the information to be analyzed, thereby addressing privacy concerns. The government cloud used by the vendor meets or exceeds all the security requirements for the FBI. Access to the system is restricted to the authorized users and requires two-factor authentication to log in.
Hello, I am Lieutenant Eric Portnoy with the San Diego Police Department, speaking on behalf of Supervising Criminalist Sean Montpetit. The Crime Laboratory provides DNA testing services to all investigative units and area stations throughout the police department. The DNA testing processes employed by the department use various pieces of instrumentation, equipment, and software to produce the testing results that are used in criminal investigations and legal proceedings. The software I'm about to describe related to the surveillance ordinance is used exclusively in the police department's crime laboratory by analysts trained and qualified to perform DNA testing. The FASTER software is used to analyze the data obtained from the 3500 genetic analyzer. The software is designed to convert the raw data from the genetic analyzer into the DNA profile results that can be then interpreted by trained DNA analysts in the crime laboratory. The software assists by converting DNA fragment signals into results for the specific DNA types present in the sample. This software is critical to the DNA testing process. The software has also been designed to integrate seamlessly with the StarMix software already used in the laboratory to assist in the DNA interpretation and comparison process. Thank you. And now we will go through the different council districts and we will be taking questions, comments. So we're going to start with the hub location where we are now, host location. I have Alexis Rivas. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind going over there. Thank you. Sorry about that. Mike, do you want to?
I just want to be clear about something. If this is regarding the Burla IVE. Do police officers need access to the physical vehicle in order to use Burla? Or is it possible to access some of this data remotely? Video mentioned call logs as potential kinds of information that it could gather. Do police also have access to the content of messages, or are those still encrypted?
No, typically on the call logs, just get a date, time.
And does the ordinance allow officers to gather information in a clandestine way without the suspect or subject of this being aware that they're the target of a search warrant or that Burla is being used to gather data from their vehicle?
And you physically would have to access the system without.
I guess the question is, is it possible, are police officers able to go to a vehicle, extract the data, and then analyze it without the owner of that vehicle knowing that that happened?
Your time is up.
Typically, no, because it has to physically from the vehicles.
Next up, we have Mike Dorfman. Okay, thank you. I have Yasmin. Hello, do you want to? Okay. Let me consult with my SME.
Any of the media that's gathered, social media, we gathered under what's called an ECPA search warrant, which is Electronic Communications Protection Act, effect in 2016. So any information that's gathered by a search warrant has to be maintained. So once the analysis is done, it's removed from the cloud. It's maintained for prosecution, for discovery. Anything that happens after that requires a court order for disposal.
Also, the time is up.
That's it for the host location. So we're going to go now to District 1.
District 1 will be starting.
Once.
That SDPD and other city departments present hundreds. City is irresponsible. San Diego is the only city in the nation that has this requirement. I understand the concept of education and transparency, but this approach is fiscally irresponsible and a waste of personnel from our critically understaffed city departments. All this information is presented in depth at City Council numerous times and at the privacy board meetings, which every citizen may attend virtually or in person. At the second presentation across all 9 locations, there were 8 citizens and 3 questions. That cost many thousands of dollars to create, organize, staff, and present. Staffing the locations required 40 SDPD and fire rescue personnel, but a waste of our stressed manpower and budget. This approach is irresponsible. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from District 1?
No, that concludes District 1.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to District 2.
Stand by 1 minute.
My question is about data store. It's about data storage, access, bias. So the first question would be for locally, not necessarily for the federal program, but the local San Diego program. Where are they hosted? Are they hosted locally on premises by a city owned, or is it by a vendor? If it's by a vendor, is it stored locally in the state, in the country? And number two, access to the data. Who is the personnel that are getting access to that data, which has sensitive information and are local, or in general? Are they, how do you determine their access, and do you provide them with training that will prevent biases? We know that there are biases when you collecting 25 gigabytes per hour kind of data.
That's your time. That is the time for the speaker.
Okay, let me try to answer some of those questions. So San Diego Police Department trains our officers, detectives, our analysts in the handling of evidence. I'm not sure what specific technology the individual was talking about, but if evidence is collected, it's downloaded, it's stored, it's regulated by our policies and procedures. And then we have retention policies that once the evidence reaches the retention policy, the evidence is no longer. Hopefully that is. Yeah, and they can also refer to the use policies that are online. Any other questions from District 2?
That was it for District 2.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to District 3.
We have one speaker in the name of Jacob Van Dyke. Hey, so this is a question about RealQuest. Many vehicles can connect to phones through Bluetooth systems in Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. These systems link contacts, call logs, text messages, and maps data from cell phones to the vehicle. Can RealQuest pull that data? I got one question about Nighthawk as well. During the video presentation, the officer said Nighthawk is typically accessed with a search warrant. Will that be mandatory in this use policy? Thank you.
Sure. Jake, do you want to come down?
The data sets that are uploaded and analyzed by Nighthawk, the vast majority are done by search warrant. I can't think of any that have been uploaded under any other means. Like I said, once they're analyzed, they're removed from that software and disposed of by a court order.
Good evening. RealQuest has no interaction with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. It is a completely separate system that is devoted strictly to real estate.
Ted, any other questions from 3?
That concludes D3.
Moving on to District 4.
That's the host location.
Oh, sorry. Moving on to District 5.
D5 had no speakers.
Thank you. District 6.
District 6 had no speakers.
Thank you. Moving on to District 7.
District 7 had no speakers.
Next is District 8.
District 8 had no speakers.
Thank you. Last is District 9.
Stand by one moment.
Okay.
District 9 has no speakers.
Okay, thank you very much. So that concludes our presentation and we're going to be wrapping it up now. Thank you all for coming out and have a wonderful evening.